going to be doing a reclining swan, and let me show you one more time because I'd like you all to experiment. And so when you're in reclining swan, you'll be on your back, and I'd like you to use the blocks so you don't have to use a lot of strength holding your legs up, but you end up bringing one ankle over the top of the other knee, and then you draw that knee down into your chest, and you get a really good glute stretch. And one of the modifications I've been trying to sell, not very successfully, is to modify where you put your ankle. If you move that ankle way over here, it changes where you feel this in your glutes. Now, some of you may say, okay, well, this will be more than my gluteus maximus. And if you take your foot way over, so it's just barely on the edge of your thigh, now it's over here on the outside, on your gluteus medius. So you might not know what part of your glutes might need more work or not, but this is one way that you can try and figure it out. Your gluteus maximus, that's the main muscle that pulls your leg back. Your medius is the muscle that is an adductor that will pull your legs together. So, okay, and then we're also going to do cat pulling its tail, and from spinal twist, when I ask you to come and get your knees drawn into your chest, if we're going off to the right, you'll drop your right foot and grab onto that right foot with your left hand. And then you'll roll over on your right side. And at that point, you begin to draw that right knee back. And then it's just the spinal twist from there. I say just because it's a great quad stretch and it intensifies the twist. So, okay. My name is Clint and this is Yin Yoga. Welcome. I'm going to start today. I'll give you 3 different options. You can just get into a seated pose in Sukhasana with your legs crossed. You can come into Hero, which is your thighs are parallel and you're sitting back on your heels. Or you could even go into a child's pose where your knees are wide, your toes are together, and you come forward. Now, all of them are going to have a little bit of a forward fold, but they all will work on something a little bit different. So, choose your pose, and you can always change. So, come into your seated pose or child's pose. Straighten out your spine. Inhale deeply in through your nose. And exhale out through your nose. Again, in through your nose. Exhale out through your nose. And let your breath come to its own natural rhythm, in and out through your nose. throughout today's class. Your natural breath is all that you're going to need. None of the poses are going to be really challenging in the sense that it requires more oxygen or more stamina. The goal in Yin is to stretch your muscles out, become still, and allow your muscles to soften. And once your muscles soften, the tension from the pose transfers into your connective tissues. And over time, your connective tissues will begin to grow and stretch a bit, creating more space for your muscles inside your body. If your mind becomes busy at some point during the class, just take another deep breath in through your nose, breathe it all out, and begin again. Your mind's job is to stay busy, to manage everything about your life, but your body can function quite well on its own without the intervention of your conscious mind. And during today's practice, try to let your body do what it can. On your next inhale, open up your eyes. Now, what I'd like you to do is come back up into a seated pose. And if you're in child, come into the seated pose with your legs crossed. And if you were to do Sukhasana to begin with, just change your, if your left foot was in front, just change so that your right foot is in front. There's no need to get up on a block. From here, we're going to do a couple of neck exercises. So I always wanted to say this. So I want you to stick your neck out. And your neck, most people, when they hear that, they want to do this. And what you really want to do is lower your shoulders and raise the crown of your head up. So from there, crown of your head is the back part here. You can raise your shoulders up, roll them towards the back, and then let your shoulder blades just come down with gravity so that your neck is as long as you can make it. Now, there could be a tendency to bend in the direction of where your head's going to go. Try to resist that. But from here, you can close your eyes, turn inside, and listen to your body. And on your exhale, begin to bring your chin down towards your chest. Again, the crown of your head is pushing away. And then on an inhale, bring it back up. And then move your head off to the right. Now don't try to do this the maximum distance, but go over a comfortable stretch. And find where your eyes are on the wall. And then on an inhale, run your eyes up that wall onto the ceiling. And that line will come eventually towards your head. So you're looking up. You're not stretching so much that it hurts your neck. You can feel this on the front right part of your throat. This is stretching those muscles in your throat. And then from there, bring your head back down and look off at that horizon. And then rotate your head over to the left. And same thing. Find the point on the wall. And then inhale, go all the way up. Feel that stretch underneath your chin, off to the side. And then exhale, come all the way back down towards that horizon, and then continue down so that you're looking down at the floor. You might be looking at your leg, but feel this stretch across the back of your neck. And then from here, rotate your chin towards the center, your whole head, and then back over to the right again. Feel that stretch. Come back up and come to center. From here, we'll do a couple of head circles. So inhale, gaze up. Get a little stretch on your neck. And then begin to take your right ear towards your right shoulder. And then let your head roll forward. You can feel a stretch across the back of your neck on the left as your chin comes down towards your sternum and continuing around left ear to left shoulder. And then all the way up. You might hear some snap, crackle, pops. That's the fascia keep going, surrounding each of those little tiny neck muscles. And the snap, crackle, pop is what causes stiffness. Next time you come back towards center or towards your chest, pause, and begin to reverse your head roll. One way you might have more sound, you might have more tightness. And the next time you come down onto your chest, pause there, look up. And then the next pose that we're going to do is that spinal twist with twisted glutes. Now, if your arms can't reach your foot, you can always use a strap. And if it's just too difficult, you don't have to. You have to do it. So first off, bring your feet out in front, push your heels away. Then put your footprints on the mat. And do a couple quick windshield wipers. Get reacquainted with your hips. And then push your heels back away, come down all the way onto your back. Lift your hands up towards the ceiling, and then lower it down onto the mat beyond your head. Stretch your palms away from your heels, your fingers away from your toes. And then bring your hands back to the front of your body. Walk your feet up towards your sit bones. And draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe make some circles on the ceiling with your knees. First one way, and then the other. And the next time you come to center, pause. At this point, drop that right foot down. Maybe you can grab that with your left hand. That's the intent anyway. Bring the right arm out to the side, and then roll over towards that right arm. Now you have hold of that right foot with your left hand, and begin to pull on that right foot. Getting that right knee coming down towards the front of your mat. You can feel that on your right thigh. And begin to lay back, leaning your left shoulder back towards the mat. Might not get there, that's okay. If you need a little more space for your head, you can always move your head an inch or so to the left. You can use your right hand to help hold down the left knee. And breathe here into wherever those sensations are greatest. That might be your quads, your right thigh. Could be in the left part of your chest. Soften your lower belly. Soften the glutes. You feel this stretch across your arm. Here too. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next exhale, release that right foot. Let that knee come back to meet the left. And then bring your knees back to center. Draw both legs into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze and rock. Find your strap if it's wandered away. Grab it and then just bring it across your chest. And the next time you come to center, pause here. Hold on to that right knee into your chest and stretch that left foot towards the front of the mat. Really pushing hard. Then take that strap, the center of the strap, over the ball of your right foot. Grab both ends, one with each hand, and then step that right foot up onto the ceiling. You can draw your arms apart, and they'll put more weight on your leg coming down into your hip socket, which is good. Or maybe you want to just draw that foot a little bit farther towards the wall beyond your head and stretch your hamstrings. Your leg doesn't have to be bent, or it doesn't have to be straight in order to stretch your hamstrings. And then carefully change your bind into your right hand. Turn your right foot out about 15 degrees. It doesn't rise up. And as you go out, you can feel this stretch on your hip flexors and also on your groin. You can relax your elbow onto the mat, onto the floor. Notice where the sensations are. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, slowly raise that right leg back up onto the ceiling. When you get there, pause and change hands with your bind. And then put your thumb on your right hip crease. Might be hard to get to, but you want that right hip to stay on the mat. As you draw that right foot off to the left, maybe only 10 inches, you can feel that stretch along the outside of your right leg. That's your IT band. If you do a lot of walking, running, hiking, pickleball, your IT band is really important. And then on your next inhale, release it all the way back up. Keep some tension on that. And begin to bend your knee until you can safely remove the strap. Draw your knee into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Draw the other knee into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And rock from left to right. And the next time you come to center pause, just lower your feet down next to your sit bones. Grab a block. And the block has 3 different dimensions. Use the flat direction or the flat orientation. That will slide underneath your sacrum. And the long block dimension will go from left to right. So on your next inhale, tuck your tailbone under, bringing the small of your back into contact with the earth, and then lift your hips up, put the block underneath your sacrum, and come back down. You should not feel this on your spine, nor on your thighs. From here, reach that right foot up onto the ceiling, push the heel away, stretch that hamstring a bit, and then bend your knee, bring your right ankle over the top of your left thigh, coming into reclining swan, and then lift your left leg up, reach your right hand between your legs, your left hand, make a bind across the back of your thigh, or perhaps even across your shins. And draw that knee down towards your chest. This is targeting your glutes. This is the reclining swan that I modeled before the class. Now you have options here. If you'd like to see what this feels like, by just moving your left foot maybe 6 or 8 inches to the left, that should produce a significant change in where you feel this. You can always use your right hand just to feel the glutes on the outside. For me, it's always been a challenge to put the inside feeling of my muscles where it is actually on my body. Because you almost never touch your body that way. And if that isn't hitting the spot, maybe move that foot off to the right foot, so it's barely on top of that left thigh. You may find that you want to increase the amount of tension by drawing that left knee in or the left thigh in a little bit more. It's all good. Soften your abs. Unclench your teeth. Notice if the sensations have subsided because your muscles have softened. Then on your next exhale, release your bind. Lower your left foot down to the mat. Take that right foot up onto the ceiling again. Push that ceiling away. And then bring your right foot down next to your left. Lift your hips, remove the block. Come back down. And draw your knees into your chest. And again, rock or make circles with your knees. Massaging your spine. The next pose is caterpillar. So the easiest way to get there could be you can roll frontwards and backwards. Come all the way up to a seated pose. Or come over onto your right side. From here, you can use the block underneath your sit bones, although that's not necessary. Your feet about hip width apart. Inhale the crown of your head up. Push your legs out long. And using a cue from Tadasana, raise your kneecaps. That will push your heels away a little bit. Sometimes thinking about doing it in a different manner makes it a little easier. Inhale tall, and then begin to walk your hands on the outsides of your legs, drawing your collarbones towards your feet and the crown of your head towards the far wall, until your body suggests that you pause. I'm going to suggest another option here. Maybe you can release your feet, your toes towards the front of the mat. And see if that draws your chest a little bit farther forward. That's because your hips have tilted a bit. But pause here and just enjoy gravity, working to draw your chest down. This pose targets your hamstrings and your spine. And you know for your body, which is more important today, so modify this. If you want more in your hamstrings, straighten out your legs a little bit more. If you need more space in your spine, maybe allow your knees to relax and allow yourself to fall forward. Each one of your bodies is different from everybody else. So your positions are different. But with your eyes closed, you can feel and you can see your body a little bit more clearly. You're not distracted. You might feel individual muscle fibers twitching a little bit if they become uncomfortable. Likewise, you may find that your muscles have begun to soften, and the pose just gets to exactly the point you want. Maybe it becomes a little too soft. You want more. You can always stretch a little bit more or a little bit less, but the goal is always to get your muscles to soften. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, begin walking your hands back next to your hips. Bring your hands behind your hips. Bend your knees and bring your footprints onto the mat. Try putting your feet farther apart or closer together, whatever might work for you. And then begin to windshield wiper your legs, your knees from side to side. And try to notice which muscles you're feeling, which muscles need this counter pose more. The next time you come to center pause, come down onto your elbows, all the way onto your back. Walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. Again, tuck your tailbone under and lift your hips up. And pause here. Draw your heels towards your shoulders. Push your knees towards the far wall. You can feel your quads doing their job, drawing your heels towards your shoulders. Your glutes are pulling your thighs down. That's what's lifting up your hips. Grab your block. And this supported bridge, you can put a block under your sacrum, the tallest way you feel comfortable. And carefully lower back down. Maybe rock your hips a little bit left to right to make sure that you're stable. And then, if you'd like, you can walk your feet towards the front of the mat. You can come onto the backs of your heels if you're comfortable doing that. And let your feet just fall where they might. Your legs can be together, wider apart. If you want, you can feel the outer part of your hip crease. And you can actually feel your psoas and iliacus, your hip flexors, coming over your pelvis. And then, if you'd like to intensify, bring your arms up towards the ceiling and carefully lower your arms down onto the mat beyond your head. And find rest for your elbows and your forearms. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, return your hands back down by your hips. Walk your footprints close to your hips. And on an inhale, lift up, remove the block, set it aside, and gently return to earth. Give yourself a squeeze. Push your hips away, lengthening your spine, and rock from left to right, massaging that spine. The next time you come to center, pause. Release both legs out to the front of the mat. Find your strap. Just set it across your chest. And then draw your left leg in towards your chest. Give your left knee a squeeze. Push that right heel away. And then put the strap around the ball of your foot. And lift that left foot up onto the ceiling. Draw that foot towards the far wall. Or just pull it down into your hip socket. And then carefully change your bind into just your left hand. Turn your left foot out about 15 degrees. And slowly lower that left foot down towards the mat, out to the side. Keeping your right hand on top of your right thigh to make sure it doesn't come up. Push that right heel away. And keep that left foot suspended, held up there by gravity. I'm sorry, by your tension that you're putting on that strap. Soften your thighs. Soften your glutes. On your next inhale, raise that foot back up towards the ceiling. And pause when you get there. Change your bind to your right hand, left thumb to your left hip crease. And then draw that left foot off to the right. If you can't feel your IT band beginning to stretch, maybe draw that foot closer to the wall beyond your head. And then just become still. Your IT band is mostly tendon and connective tissue. Very little muscle. It's all right up, hiding within the glute. On your next inhale, bring the foot back up onto the ceiling. And an exhale, begin to bend the knee, bringing the knee down until you can release your strap. Draw your knee into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. Draw the other knee in, give yourself another squeeze, and rock from left to right, or circles. Which come to reclining swan again, so grab your block. Put your footprints down next to your sit bones. And then inhale, lift your hips up. Place the block underneath your sacrum. And then lower back down. Lift your left foot up towards the ceiling, push your heel away. Feel that hamstring stretch. And then cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh, like a gentleman sitting. And draw that right leg, right knee into your chest. And remember, you have the same options. You can leave that leg right where it is, or you can experiment. Sometimes you can find a pocket of muscles that are just too eager to hold on until you do something a little out of the ordinary. And then they become cooperative. You can enlist them to help other muscles soften. Soften the backs of your thighs. Soften your lower belly. Notice if the sensations have migrated or dissipated. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next exhale, release your mind. Lower your right foot down. Bring your left foot up onto the ceiling. Stretch. And then bring it down next to your hips. Lift up, remove the block. And lower down. And grab your knees and give yourself another squeeze, another rock. More circles. And the next time you come to center, pause. We've come to spinal twist. So this is the last pose before Shavasana. So lower your left leg down so that your ankle is close to your right glute. You can reach that with your right hand or maybe a strap. And then begin to roll over onto your left side, coming into spinal twist. And as you do that, draw that left foot with your right hand. And begin to let gravity draw your right shoulder down. The tension that you're putting through your right arm onto that left leg should be drawing your left knee towards the front of the mat, stretching your quads. If you normally are able to get your shoulders on the ground, but with cat pulling its tail, it's more difficult, that's okay. This is just a different stretch. You're getting into different muscles. And that's what your body deserves. Your body needs different stretches every week or more often because your activities are different. Your stresses are different. And you are the steward of your body. And the better care you give it, the more satisfying it will be. begin to deepen your breath. On your next exhale, release your body. When you're ready, bring your knees back to center. Draw them into your chest one more time. Give yourself a big squeeze. Maybe make some really large circles on the ceiling. And the next time you come to center, pause. Lower one leg out to the front corner of the mat. Push that heel away. Release the other heel out to the other corner of the mat. Really push. Lengthen your spine. Bring your arms either out from your body or down by your sides with your palms up towards the ceiling. Spread your fingers and your toes. Get a nice stretch there. Lift your head an inch. Stretch your spine long. Tuck your chin in and gently lower your head back down. Release your hands and your feet to gravity. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. And exhale it out through your nose. Take another cleansing breath in through your nose. Out through your nose. And take rest. I'll be coming around and adjusting some of you. I probably won't get to everyone, but if you do not want me to touch you, just wave me away when you hear my footprints. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your space. Bring movement to your fingers and to your toes, to your wrists, and to your ankles. Gently roll your head from left to right. And when you're ready, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. Draw your knees into your chest, giving yourself another squeeze. Then you walk from left to right or make circles on the ceiling. Massaging your spine. And then the next time you come over on your right side, pause there for just a moment. In fetal pose, using your right arm as a pillow. And scan your body to see if you can detect any tension or stress that you might still have in your body, so that you can address that later this week. And then use the strength in your left hand to push the floor away, rising up to a seated pose. Thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me this afternoon. And thank you even more for taking the time and effort to keep your bodies and your minds healthy through the practice of yoga. Take the compassion and empathy that you practice with every time you step on your mat and share that with your family, your friends, and each person you might meet. Namaste. My name is Clint, and this has been Yin Yoga. Thank you for attending.